So we are looking at dividing polynomials. And we have two types of problems that we look at in this class, dividing by one term and dividing by two terms. And so if you notice that you only have one term on the bottom, these are the easy kind of problems. And so we'll run through those so fast. So if you're dividing by one term, what you're going to do is split it up. How many terms do you have on the top? You got 3. So what you're going to do is take every term that you have on the top and stick a 5x underneath it and simplify that. You're going to make 3 little bitty problems since you had 3 terms on top. Now this is something we did in the first or second lesson. We divided, and so you know that you divide your numbers, and what do you do with your exponents? When you're dividing, you subtract them. So if I simplified those, 25 divided by 5 is 5, and if I subtracted those exponents, it would be 3 minus 1, or x squared. 50 divided by 5 is 10. If I subtracted them, it's x to the 2 minus 1, or 1. And then 40 divided by 5 is 8, and then these x's will cancel out, or x minus x is 0 power, which is just 1, and it goes away. Alright, so the same thing here, but this time I have 4 terms on top. So I'm going to take my 10x cubed and stick a 2x underneath it, my negative 8x squared, and stick an 8x underneath it. Stick a 2x underneath it. And my 9x over my 2x and my negative 4 over my 2x. Okay? Alright, so if I were to simplify this, 10 divided by 2 is 5, and if I were to subtract them, I get x squared. Minus 8 divided by 2 is 4, and if I were to subtract them, I just get x. Alright, 9 over 2 doesn't reduce. 2 doesn't go into 9, and I can't reduce it. And then what happens to the x's? They cancel. Alright, minus 4 divided by 2 is 2, but do I have anything to put the x with? No, and you won't always leave positive exponents, so we just have to leave that x on the bottom. Okay, so those are easy problems when you're just dividing by a monomial, dividing by one term. We'll spend our time on the next couple that are dividing by a binomial. Alright, so you divide by a binomial, you have to use long division. So put your steps in it. First thing you're going to do is set up your problem. Alright, so this is the divisor. It goes on the outside. And if it makes you feel better and you want to put the 1 in front of the x, please do so. Alright, now, this is the dividend. And what you want to do is make sure it doesn't need a placeholder. Okay, so what you do is you look at your highest exponent, which is 2, and see if it counts all the way down to 0 without skipping anybody. Well, there's 2. There's 1, there's none, so I'm good. It'll be another 2 problems before we get to a placeholder. Alright, so fill in your 1s if you want. Alright, in long division, we always start, if we're dividing by a binomial, we start one spot over. So you're going to put something over the 2x. Okay? Alright, all you have to do is worry about your numbers. What you're going to do is say, alright, how many times does 1x go into 1x squared? Okay, so what I'm asking is, how many times does 1x go into 1x squared? Well, if you reduce that, what are you just left with? X. Okay, but you can just do the number part. You can say, how many times does 1 go into 1? It goes in 1 time. And these have to line up. If there's an x underneath, it's going to be an x on top. And then what you're going to do is take that 1x and you're going to multiply it through that, distribute it through that binomial. You're going to say, all right, what's 1x times 1x would be 1x squared. And what's 1x times 3 would be 3x. Draw a line, change your sign. So these both go negative. They're both positive right now. You change them. And you add or subtract. So 1x squared minus 1x squared cancels. It always should. And then what's a negative 2x minus 3x? That's a negative 5x. Bring down your negative 15. All right, erase whatever it is you distributed. And we're going to start over. All right. Now, I need to say, how many times does 1 go into a negative 5? We'll go a negative 5. Now, if you look underneath, the 15 doesn't have an x, so you don't need an x with it. It all lines up. Okay, so now what you're going to do is distribute that negative 5 through here. So what is negative 5 times 1x? Negative 5x. And what's negative 5 times 3? Negative 15. Draw a line. Change your sign. So this one goes positive. This one goes positive. You're changing the signs at the bottom. 5x, negative 5x plus 5x cancels. Remember I told you it always should. And negative 15 plus 15 cancels. So I got no remainder. So my answer is x minus 5, or 1x minus 5, what you see on top. Okay. All right, let's try another one that looks a little bit better. Okay. All right. So again, draw your long division. Put your divisor on the outside. All right, now let's see about a placeholder. So what was the highest exponent I started with? 3. So I need them to go 3, 2, 1, 9, and they do. 3, 2, 1, 9. The next one won't. We'll talk about what to do with that. So fill it in. Okay, so again, I want everybody put an arrow over the 9. You're going to start over that negative 3. You only have to worry about the numbers. So you're going to say, how many times does the first number go into the first number? So how many times does 3 go into 9? 3 times. Okay, now it has to line up. So however many x's are here, or how many have to go on top. So that's an x squared. Alright, so what you're going to do is distribute that 3x squared. Alright, what is 3x squared times 3x? 9x cubed. And what's 3x squared times 2? 6x squared. Draw a line, change your signs. So this one goes negative, so does this one. Those cancel. And what's a negative 3x squared minus 6x squared? Negative 9x squared. Bring down your next one. All right, let's erase what we distributed, and now we'll start over. Okay, so my first number on the outside is still a 3, but now I say how many times does 3 go into negative 9? So I'm going 3 into negative 9. Well, if you had to simplify that, you tell me it's negative 3. All right, however many's underneath, or how many go right here. So now I'm distributing a negative 3x. So let's do that. What is negative 3x times 3x? That's negative 9x squared. And what is negative 3x times 2? That's negative 6x. Draw a line. Change the signs on the bottom. So this one's going positive, so is this one. Those cancel. And what's a negative 3x plus 6x? Well, that's going to be 3x. Bring down your 4, and you are almost finished. Okay, so let's figure out what our last distribute is. So you're going to say, again, how many times 3? Now go into 3. One time. The 4 doesn't have an x, so neither does the 1. So now we're distributing a 1. So what's 1 times 3x? 3x. And what's 1 times 2? 2. Draw a line. Change your sign so they both go negative. And this time I have a remainder. Anytime you have a remainder, you need to put it in your answer. So my remainder is a positive 2. So I'm going to say plus 2 over, you put it over the divisor part, 3x plus 2. If it had been negative, I'd have said minus, 2 over 3x plus 2. And there my answer is on top. Okay. All right, so I've mentioned placeholders. Let's do this next one that has a placeholder. All right, so here we go. 2x minus 4. Now, I start with a 3. Do my exponents go 3, 2, 1, 9? No. Who do they skip? When you fill it in, it skipped the x squared. So what you do is you have to say, I have none of them. Anybody you skip, you put a 0 in for their spot. Okay? Alright. Again, now I'm going to start over the 0, one spot over, and I just do the numbers. So say, how many times does 2 go into 4? 2 times, and it needs to line up with an x squared. So if I distributed 2x squared, 2x squared times 2x is 4x cubed, and 2x squared times negative 4 is negative 8x squared. Draw a line, change your signs. So that one goes negative, that one goes positive. Those cancel, and I'm left with 0 plus 8, or 8x squared. Bring down your negative 6x. Alright, let's erase what we distributed and start over. So now, how many times does 2 go in 8? 2 goes into 8 4 times. Line it up. There has to be an x there. Now distribute a 4x. So 4x times 2x is 8x squared. And 4x times negative 4 is negative 16x. Draw a line. Change your signs. So those cancel. And what's a negative 6 plus 16? That's going to be 10x. Bring down your negative 11. All right, erase this. And last time, how many times does 2 go into 10 now? It goes 5 times. So now distribute a 5. 5 times 2x is 10x. Oops, let me switch back. Okay, 10x. And 5 times negative 4 is negative 20. Draw a line, change your signs. And a negative 11 plus 20 is a remainder of 9. So I say plus 9 over 2x minus 4. Okay. All right, I've got this last one to do. So 2x minus 1 on the outside. All right, so I start again with the 3, my exponent. So I need 3, 2, 1, 9. So I don't have any x squares. I also don't have any nuns. Okay, but now they go 3, 2, 1, none. Just make sure everybody has a spot. All right, so here we go. How many times does 2 go into 4? Goes 2 times. And make it an x squared. Alright, distribute that 2x squared. 2x squared times 2x is 4x cubed. And 2x squared times negative 1 is negative 2x squared. Draw a line, change your signs. Cancel, and I get 0 plus 2, so I get 2x squared. Bring down your negative 5x. Alright, let's erase that, and here we go. 2 into 2. How many times does 2 go into 2? It goes 1 time, so I would put an x with it to line it up. So now let's distribute a 1x. 1x times 2x is 2x squared, and 1x times negative 1 is negative 1x. Draw a line, change your signs. Now I'm left with a negative 4x. Bring down my 0, and this will be my last time. How many times does 2 go into a negative 4? It's a negative 2 times. So I'm going to distribute a negative 2. So negative 2 times 2x is negative 4x, and a negative 2 times negative 1 is a positive 2. Draw a line, change your signs, and so my remainder this time is a negative 2. So I say minus 2 over 2x minus 1. All right, go practice.